rolled through, and Michael waited for the man to get back in his car before following him down a path he hadn't seen, back toward the house with the light. Gus Coletti is shaving. He is 86 years old, a grandparent, long retired. He and his wife Laura are up early in their small wood frame house in Oak Beach to head upstate to a car show. He hears pounding on his front door. He opens up and sees a girl with chestnut hair. In her hand is a cell phone. The girl is shrieking. The only word Gus can make out is help. Those who have heard the 911 recording say it sounds as if Gus never let her inside, though he will later insist that he did. In any case, all it takes to send her running away is Gus saying he's going to call the police. The girl trips down the porch stairs. Gus heads outside, staying on the porch, watching as the girl beats on a few more doors, then finds a hiding place behind the small boat just outside his house. Both he and the girl see the lights of a truck coming down the fairway toward them. When the car stops, he can see it more clearly. A black Ford Explorer with a young Asian driver. The SUV slows to a stop. Gus comes down from the porch to talk with him. As soon as the girl sees that the driver is distracted, she bolts out past the headlights, across the road, and into the darkness. Gus's driveway is just a few dozen yards from the Oak Beach gatehouse. The way out of the gated community is just yards away, plain to see, but the girl doesn't head in that direction. Instead, she runs down another road, Anchor Way, to knock on another door, that of Wanda Houseman, but again there is no answer. She keeps on running, 100 more yards, to a street called the Bayou. Barbara Penman hears the knocking, and she even sees the girl, notices her frantically fiddling with her cell phone. She calls out, but the girl doesn't respond, and Brennan doesn't open the door. Instead, like Gus before her, she calls 911. The girl runs. When the police finally arrive, about 45 minutes after Gus Coletti's and Barbara Brennan's 911 calls, the officer talks to the neighbors but doesn't get much of anywhere. It isn't the least bit clear what has happened here or what is to be done. Both the car and the girl are gone. 7 months later, over 3 rainy days in December, police uncover the bodies of 4 women in the bramble on the side of Ocean Parkway on Gilgo Beach, 3 miles from where Shannan Gilbert disappeared. Detectives thought at least one of them had to be Shannan. They were wrong. There was Maureen Brainerd Barnes, last seen at Penn Station in Manhattan 3 years earlier in 2007, and Melissa Barthelemy, last seen in the Bronx in 2009. There was Megan Waterman, last seen leaving a hotel in Hauppauge, Long Island, just a month after Shannan in 2010. And a few months later that same year, Amber Lynn Costello, last seen leaving a house in West Babylon, Long Island. Like Shannan, they were all petite and in their 20s. Like Shannan, they all came from out of town to work as escorts. Like Shannan, they all advertised on Craigslist and its competitor, Backpage. It had seemed enough at first for some to say the victims were all just Craigslist hookers, practically interchangeable, lost souls who were dead, in a fashion, long before they actually disappeared. There is a story our culture tells about people like them, a conventional way of thinking about how young girls fall into a life of prostitution. But that story, in the internet age, is quickly becoming outmoded. Shannan, Maureen, Melissa, Megan, and Amber took part in a modern age of prostitution in which clients are lured with the simple tap of a computer keyboard rather than the exhausting, demeaning ritual of walking the streets. The method is easier, seductively so, almost like an ATM. Post an ad, and the phone rings seconds later, but also deceptive about its dangers. They each made the decision to have sex for money for intensely personal reasons: acceptance, adventure, success, love, power. They kept working often for reasons even they didn't comprehend, and they traveled in worlds that many of their loved ones could not imagine. When they disappeared, only their families were left to ask what became of them. Few others seemed to care, not even the police.